me know. Can you hear me now? Let me know. I was saying earlier that how's the month going for you? And I said February has been the fastest ever. Like seriously, I was watching one skit on Instagram over this weekend, and the person was abusing January. And the person said, January, look at your mates. Look at your mate February. No, 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 no. February is over. And truthfully, February has run with the kind of speed I cannot even comprehend. So I want you to let me know, how has the year been for you? February is 6 days down, and we're stepping into March. And before you know it, quarter 1 is over. How has it been for you? Please let me know in the comment section while I use the next 20 seconds to send the links across our communities and let our community members know that we're live now. How has it been for you this year? Many of us set goals. We don't say New Year resolutions, right? We set goals, we have our visions. How is it going for you? How has it been for you? Let us know in the comment section. Okay. Okay, so it says I can hear you clearly. Thank you very much for confirming that you can hear us. While I'm waiting for your confirmations, for me, I would say that this year has been one of the sweetest years for me. Don't judge me. Don't say it's too early to say, but so far it has been really good. And part of what is making it really good is the kind of energy that I entered the year with, right? I entered the year with so much enthusiasm, with so much plan, with so much in stock for me. And I didn't enter the year with those plans in my head. I entered the year scripting those plans. They are carefully written down, no surprises. I read a book one time and it says a goal that is not written down is just wishful thinking, right? So one thing I did while entering this year was to make sure that my goals are properly written, clearly written. And thankfully, right in Book Lovers Club, we read a book, The 12-Week Year, so early in January, and we were able to craft our year's goals, our year's vision, and then we broke them down into actionable steps, what we would do every single day of the year in 2026 to make sure that we move our goals forward. And honestly, it has been mind-blowing. Oh, it has been. February just the year is just 2 months down, and I feel like I've achieved so much already in my reading goals, in my personal goals, my career goals. Why? Because I started with a good system. I started with the right information. I started with the right plan. Okay. Gone are the days where when we just, think in our mind, this is what I want to achieve, this is where I want to be here at this time and at that time, but we don't do anything about it. In this time and era, the people who succeed are the people who pen down their thoughts, who pen down their plans, who do life every day prepared. And I'm happy that you're one of them, because joining this live stream tells me that you take your life journey seriously. And I'm grateful for that. And so, without wasting too much time, we're going to go right into the topic for today. Our topic today says, less busy, more reading. How to beat overwhelm and start finishing books. You see, over the years, working with parents and adults generally, I've come to realize that the problem that we have is not the problem of not loving books or not appreciating the value of reading. The main problem that I noticed that we have is busyness. Yes, is the time factor. We all claim that we don't have time. We don't know how to slot it in. How do you juggle all of these things in? But one thing I realized is that we all have, no, not even what I realized. One thing is for sure, we all have the same amount of time as everyone else, right? So the people who are reading daily as a lifestyle and making their lives better and bigger, There's something they are doing differently. And those are part of the things we're going to be talking about today in today's topic. Okay. Many of us genuinely love to read, right? Genuinely appreciate that wisdom and ease. Life is easier when you know. I always say the more you know, the easier your life becomes. Many of us really do appreciate that. So, what then stops us from reading consistently? What? What? Those are the things we're going to answer today. So, I'd like to begin by telling you like a simple story of a day in the life of a busy reader. Now, let me describe the normal day for many of us. So, you wake up early, bright and early, already thinking about everything you need to do. Even before getting out of bed, you've already planned, you've checked your phone, checked your messages, emails, notifications, and your mind is already full. And then you have a plan, you want to start this and do that and take a break here. And then you move into the day, and then life happens. Work responsibilities, family needs, errands, conversations, those small urgent things, distractions that creep in here and there that are not planned for, they begin to show up. And then by evening, you're already tired. You're not just physically tired, no, you are also mentally tired. And so you look at the book that you genuinely plan to read, and then you say to yourself, I'll do this tomorrow when I have more energy. Here is the shocking thing: tomorrow comes and the cycle repeats, right? The problem, like we already established, is not that you don't love reading. The problem is that your attention has been spent, your energy is gone long before you open the book. And that is where the problem begins. So we assume the reading requires more discipline, more motivation, more energy. But what reading consistently actually requires is unspent attention, focus, apt attention, right? Because when busyness consumes all your decisions and energy, then reading begins to feel like work instead of rest. Now, at this point, I like to emphasize that the readers community, we are known for one thing. And what is that? We make reading a lifestyle. So all the conversations we have in this group, in this YouTube channel, all the conversations we have here are focused on reminding you that reading should be a lifestyle. As much as you wake up, you breathe, you shower, you eat, you do all of those things, that is exactly how your daily reading time should be protected. It should be non-negotiable, right? I'm putting together a book that I will launch soon. And I got to a point where I began to write a lot about the like looking at reading consistently from the biblical lens, from the biblical point of view. And in fact, I had to cut down because there was a lot. In fact, it began to change the tone of the book. It was looking like we're now looking at, reading lessons from the Bible or wisdom lessons from the Bible, but that was not the topic of the book, right? So I had to start removing some because there's a lot. There's a lot. So even the creator, even the person who brought us to this world, expects a certain level of commitment to personal development from us, to reading consistently. Okay, so those are and many more are the things that we're going to unpack in today's session. Now, let me begin with this. What is busyness? Remember our topic: less busy, more reading. We all know business. You're engaged, you're doing this and that, you have a fully packed calendar. But I want to begin by talking about the myth about business. The myth about business, the wrong notion that we have about business, right? We need to talk about something deeper. This business, many people are not failing at reading, they are just drowning in business. So, what is the first myth about business? Number one, business equals productivity. That's a myth. It's not true. The fact that you're busy does not mean that you're productive. No, far from it. Many of us are actually busy running around in circles. Like we do stuff, we message people, we make plans, but we're running around in circles. At the end of the day, we can't stand up and say, this is what I've been able to achieve. Right? So busyness does not equal productivity. The fact that you're doing more The fact that your calendar is fully booked does not mean that you are productive. Why do I say so? Take, for example, you have your schedule, your to-do list for the day, and by midday, by 2 p.m. ish, you find yourself heading out to let's say um to a clothing store, for instance, unplanned. It was not part of your plan, right? But maybe a friend called and wanted you to help them select something or help them to do something, even if it's emergency, right? And then you assent to that, and then you go for that stuff, right? You're busy, like meaningfully busy, but are you really productive? The productivity here is measured in terms of your plan for the day, what you plan to achieve. Going to a clothing store, is it part of what you plan to achieve? If the answer is no, then you find yourself that you're busy, but you're not achieving much, because achievement is relative, right? What counts as achievement for you today might not be achievement for you the next day. Because before you tell me you've achieved something, I have to be looking at your plan. What did you say you were going to do versus what you eventually did? That is what confirms your achievement. Now, business only measures activity, it doesn't measure impact at all. You can be busy answering messages, doing chats, scrolling, multitasking, and still move nowhere meaningful. That nowhere meaningful means when we compare it to where you said you were going to be on this day, you have not made any progress, right? So you can be busy, very busy, and actually unproductive. And this is where many of us find ourselves, right? We're going to unpack all of this nicely today. Activity is not the same as advancement, right? The fact that you're doing something actively, it doesn't mean that you're moving forward. So when our days are full of activity, reading becomes the first thing that is sacrificed because it feels non-urgent. Now, still back to the book that I'm writing, right? I got to a point where I began to realize that I remember growing up, they used to tell us empty vessels make the most noise. Recently, I began to even get more in-depth interpretation of that saying. Empty vessels is also in the Bible actually. Make empty vessels make the most noise. You see all those unplanned activities, all those unplanned phone calls, all of those interruptions and distractions, they are empty vessels. They are the loudest. But you see, activities like planning your day, planning your future, planning your life, like prioritizing your personal development, activities like reading, they are not noisy and they don't make noise. And that is why they are so easy to be swept to the back. And that is totally wrong. Okay. Reading is silent and not noisy. So it is easily pushed aside. Myth number two, many of us say, I'll read when life slows down, or I will read after this course. I met a friend. I was on the phone with a friend recently, and we were talking. I was just sharing some, things I've picked up from the books I've been reading lately. Because you can't talk to me, and I want to talk to you about books. That's why I'm Mama Books, right? And then she said, I like this book. I'm going to read it, but I just want to wait until I finish my program. Let me just finish this MBA I'm doing. Then Vera, I will start reading. And then I looked at her and I laughed. I didn't say much because I didn't really want to overstretch the conversation. And I laughed. And I said to myself, you that is in school running a master's, you are the person who needs to read consistently more than any one of us. Why? Because you're reading consistently sharpens your brain, increases your speed of thought, helps you comprehend better. So when your brain is actively engaged in reading every day, when you pick up your schoolwork, you find out that your speed is faster than someone who doesn't read regularly. But here, the person is saying she will pick up her reading when she's done with her master's program. That is one of the points we're going to look at today as we unpack this topic nicely. Many people believe reading will happen later, maybe when work settles, when kids grow, when schedules clear, but life rarely slows down on its own. No. The people that said adulthood na scam, that is what they actually meant, right? Life will never slow down. You are the driver of your life. You are the one that will match the brake and stop life by yourself. Yes, you are the one. Nobody else can do it for you. right? So whenever you find yourself saying, "Oh, I'll do this later, I'll do this after this in 2027," or just know that it will never get better. Adulthood was not created to be slow for anyone. I was reading a research recently why people struggle to read, right? Why adults find it hard to read. And I stumbled across a very interesting research, and it says that the adult brain was not developed for reading consistently. Let me explain this. Now, as children, we all were all raised in schools. Like we knew the importance of going to school. Many of our parents prioritized education and all of that. So we were reading as a duty, as per we are students. So we have to, read up, read up, read up. But the moment you graduate from school, that obligation, let me use that word loosely, that exercise was, or no, not exercise, that obligation, yes, that mandate was kind of lifted. So it's more like making the adulthood now permits reading to be optional. That is why many of us struggle. So we'll rather chase money, chase our jobs, chase business, chase every other thing than settle down and read. It is normal. It is not just you. Many adults are like that. And that is how life is generally. So that takes me back to what I was saying. You're the owner of the life, you're the driver. Only you and only you can match a brake and say, look, at this time, I want to slow down. I want to slow down and focus on the things that actually matter most. One of it is prioritizing your personal development, because a well fed mind is a well fed life. A well fed mind, if your mind is thoroughly taken care of, then every other thing begins to align, right? Every other thing begins to align naturally. If reading waits for calm seasons, it never becomes a habit, because reading doesn't happen when life gets easier. It happens when we decide it matters. So the moment when you decide that, okay, my 24 hours are fully booked, but I'm going to spare 30 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day to feed my mind. The moment you take that decision, then you find out that you can actually do it. And now let me shock you. I don't know. I always find myself saying this thing repeatedly. The Mark Zuckerbergs, the Jeff Bezos, all of these big guys that invented heaven and earth and did all of the wonders they did, they actually set out time to read consistently. I don't think any of us is busier than the person that's the owner of Facebook. I don't think any of us is bigger than, let's say, who are even the Nigerian ones, like Matthew Ashimolo, those ones that read 100 books a year. I don't think so. How busy can you really, really be? The problem is not the busyness, the problem is the prioritization gap. And that is one of the things we're going to talk about today. Okay. Now, myth 3 about busyness. The third myth is that doing more means achieving more. We try to join everything, learn everything, start many books, all the recommended books, you pack them, you consume endlessly. What that then does to us is that we spread attention too widely, and it creates shallow progress. This is the point I would like to make this illustration. So recently in Book Lovers Club, which is our book club by the Readers Corner, we this February we read the book called Essentialism. Okay, it's not nearby. Essentialism. And one of the key takeaways from that book is a picture that is in that book that it's got stuck in my memory. Now there are two pictures. One is a round circle with about 10 arrows showing short arrows around the circle. And the second picture is the same circle, but with one arrow that is very tall. Now, let me explain to you the difference. The one with the 10 arrows is where many of us are currently, the life of business. And in that business, we are spread across two things, too many activities, and then we make short progress, just this long, short progress in 10 different things. That's what the book calls we get involved in many activities and we make a milliliter of progress. Milliliter is very tiny. But here comes the second picture, which is also the same circle with one. For me, I'll just say one or two or three things, but with significant progress. So that comes to negate the myth that doing more means achieving more. That is not true. Doing more does not equal to achieving more. Less is always better. So we must deliberately apply the brakes in our lives and select our less wisely. Now, let's move to the third, okay, no, the fourth myth about reading, about business, right? But before I go there, I'd like to add a part that says that when everything feels important, nothing receives enough attention to be completed. Less is always more. So the better to focus on one main thing and give it our 100% than a million other things and make little progress. This thing right here is the grandfather of overwhelm. You see that word overwhelm? Every time you feel overwhelmed, please note that you are taking more than you need per time. Quote me anywhere. Anytime, I'm even talking to myself as I'm having these conversations with you all. I'm talking to myself because I'm also growing, right? Anytime you feel overwhelmed, like you're losing yourself, you don't even have time to relax and enjoy the moment of what you do, then you've taken more than required. This is a clue to you to slow down, match your breaks, review your calendar, review your goal, and keep it simple. Simplicity is always the best, right? Am I saying that all of the desires, all the things you want to chase should go to the backstage? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's something called the seasons of life. You need to be able to identify your season of life. Where am I at this time? Where I am is I want to do this. I want to prioritize of my business. And so your life revolves around your business. If you say your season of life now is to raise your little children, then your life, when I say your life, everything you talk, eat, drink, sleep, go, come back will be on that singular goal. That is what it means to do less but more. If you say that your family is your priority, or your spiritual growth, whatever it is that is your priority, then you learn how to focus your attention on it. So our topic says less busy, more reading, how to beat overwhelm. The first way to beat overwhelm: review your schedule, review yourself. Everything cannot be important at the same time. Let's look at the story of creation. Now, we all know that God is the most powerful. God has all the power in the whole universe. Why did he not create the world all at the same time? Guys, guess what? It would only take God just, hey, earth, water, galaxies, trees, animals. He could have done that, but he didn't do that. What did he do instead? He took it one at a time. God could have created the whole world in 7 minutes, but he chose to do it in 7 days, or shall I say 6 days. I take that again. God could have created the world in 7 minutes. No, in 7 seconds actually. But he chose to do it in 6 days and even left an extra day to rest. I want to ask you, dear parents, dear adults, dear creator, dear business person, dear professional, why do you want to create everything in 7 seconds, in 7 minutes? Life is in stages and phases. You should be able to break it down from year 20 to 25. This is what I want to focus on. 26 to 30, this is the aspect. For me, I've identified what my focus is, and that's why I get really uncomfortable when I'm being dragged into different, like if it doesn't align with what I'm focusing on at this moment, which is raising my children intentionally. I feel uncomfortable. You might find me there, here, and there, but inside me, I'm like, Vera, you shouldn't be here. This is what you should have been doing by now. So that is number one therapy for overwhelm. Identify your seasons of life. Let me move really faster now. So the next, okay, I can take the last myth. The next myth is multitasking saves time. Now, many of us multitasking. Why do we multitask? Again, we've taken more than is required. We've taken too much activities that we can handle. Then we begin to multitask, right? We then stand up and say, "Oh, I can do this at the same time. I can, while I'm driving, I'll be listening to this, I'll be doing that, and I'll be doing that. My sisters and my brothers, no, could it work like that? It doesn't work like that. More, I read a recent research that actually multitasking is possible. It is actually possible. But you know what is not possible? Multi-focusing is not possible. So you can take on so many things. As I'm talking, I can actually be on my phone and be chatting, right? And still be talking, like giving you this talk and still be scrolling on my phone. I am multitasking. But am I efficient? The answer is no. Many of the things I plan to teach in this class, I will definitely not remember to say them. Did I deliver the class? Yes, I did. Did I make the best out of it? No, I didn't. The person that I'm chatting, will I miss some messages? Yes, I will. Will I get distracted and ask them, oh, what did you say? Or maybe I'm talking on the phone and I'm like, repeat yourself. It happens all the time. So multitasking is a very big myth. And let me tell you how it breaks down the nervous system. It makes the brain jump from one activity. So the brain can actually not do many things at the same time, right? The moment you are doing one thing, the brain is focusing on that thing. Then you move to another one. The brain stops that one and moves to this other one. By the time you're going back to that one, so what happens, the brain is just going left, right. And guess what? Before noon or 2 p.m., you're already tired. It happens to me. I take myself for example. Sometimes I plan my day because I work from home. Like, okay, once my children go to school, I clean up the house, set up my kitchen, like make everywhere look sparkly clean, and then I get on my laptop to start my work. Many times I say to myself, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And then I see this message, somebody's in need or somebody needs to get something from me. And then I begin to chat. And then on my office laptop, I'm also using one hand. I notice that I get drained easily. Before it's 12 noon, I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. And then there comes busyness without making progress. But every time I set aside my devices and I say to myself, Vera, this is time to work. Sometimes I meditate, I do a mindfulness meditation. I'm like, okay, Vera, it is work time. I begin to think about my work, what I do for the company I work for. I get into the mood and then I begin to work. I notice that in less than 1 hour, I have achieved so much. By the time I pick up my phone, I'm like, oh, nothing is even happening. Lo and behold, you even see, sometimes I don't even send a message in the phone. So why was I even bothered in the first place? So multitasking saves time is a myth. Some of us even read, like we're scrolling, we have one phone in our hand and we're reading, we're listening while replying to messages, we're listening to a book and cooking, or listening to an ebook and driving. Multitasking fractures focus. We already said that. It's possible, but multi-focusing is not possible. And what you need for an effective, productive day is single focusing, right? And when we multitask, we don't just lose time, you lose comprehension and enjoyment. You don't enjoy the moment. Multitasking doesn't save time, it steals depth and stresses the brain. Now, when all of these things combine together, when the schedules become overcrowded, attention becomes scattered, decisions become exhausting, and reading then feels like, oh, not again. This is the last thing on my mind. Let me get other things sorted. Overwhelm is not caused by lack of ability. It is caused by too many competing priorities, too many of them. You can't be here and be here at the same time. You have to choose one place to be. Now, taking us back to the book I was talking about, Essentialism, like reading that book again did something different for me because this time I read it with my community, right? With the with the book lovers club community, and every week we began to break down the contents of that book. Oh my God, I don't know if I have any book lover in the live stream. Please show us some love if you're a member of the book lovers club. Oh my God, I began, even me, after reading that essentialism book, I had to carry my journal and say, Vera, you're dropping this one, that one, this one, this one. I dropped so many things from my schedule. I realized that I was actually taking too much. And that's the same exact message that we preach in Book Lovers Club and the Readers Corner. A book, you cannot finish a book and still be the same thing, the same person. You are not reading, you are just speeding or skipping through. A book must change your lifestyle. As soon as I finished that book, Essentialism, I dropped, I changed different things. I was in church today with my friends since Eve, and they were announcing a program coming up, and I told her I'm going to be in for this program. I'm sure she'll be like, this better that is always going saying I don't want. Why? Because I have realigned my priorities. I've looked at my season of life. Okay, I need this community. I need this. I need to do this and that. And then before I accepted to be in that program, I know how many things I've already dropped. Right? And the beautiful thing about what we did in Book Lovers Club this month is this last week we did a graceful no challenge. That is learning how to say no to opportunities that are unnecessary. I mean, saying no generally to non-essentials without saying no. Yes, that's what we call graceful no. We say no without saying no. So we have a response bank for when anything wants to drag you into what is not essential for you. What is not essential? What you have not identified already. As long as I have not identified it, it is not essential. I was reading a book recently and it says always work with a plan. Live your life from your book. What did you write down that you will do? Anything that is not in that book that takes your attention is non-essential, is a distraction. Are they sometimes important? Yes. Are they sometimes urgent? Yes. But let me shock you. The urgent things are not always important things. So if you spend your days doing urgent things, my dear, you are in the same category of with those that are busy without being productive. Remember, we said productivity is measured in line with your original plan, right? So the more urgent it is, the more you should sit back and say no to it. If it's not life-threatening, trust me, it's gonna wait. Nobody died. That's one thing my parenting coach, when he will always say, nobody died. And yes, nobody is gonna die. Right. So now let's move really fast. Let's talk about how to beat overwhelm and start finishing your books. If you're just joining us, I want to say thank you very much. I see a lot of people on the live stream today. I appreciate you. Please show us some love. You know, I can't see you, right? But I can see your reactions and I can see your messages. So please drop something. Let me know that I'm not here alone. And if you're just joining our YouTube channel for the first time, this is the Readers Corners YouTube channel. We gather here once every month where we talk about burning topics about how to help ourselves become better consistent readers, because we've identified and we have established the fact that there is no progress. There's no meaningful progress without a consistent reading life. Yes, quote me anywhere. I can defend it to you. Why do I say that? I have lived in the two extremes. I've lived my life without caring about books, and I'm living it now, reading consistently. And I can tell you that there's no meaningful progress. Running around in circles is not progress without a consistent reading life. So all what we talk about here, hey, sis Olivia Benjamin, that's my big sis. Thank you, sis, for being here. So one thing I know, one core value of the Readers Corner is read consistently, like your life depends on it. So I want to say thank you for joining us. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, now is the time to press the subscribe button so that you can get more of our useful conversations. Thank you, Smart Mom Living. Thank you for joining us. Multitasking is possible, but multifocusing is not possible. Awesome. I have great students here. It's not possible. And one thing your brain needs for efficient delivery is single focusing. You need to focus on one thing at a time, get it done, then move on to the next one. Right. Thank you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get more of our useful tips. And on this playlist where you saw this link, we have a lot of free YouTube videos that you can sit on them, learn what we've been learning since last year when we launched this YouTube channel. And thank you to everyone who has stuck with us. Since Evelyn's special shout out to you. You're always on our YouTube live streams. I think we have to start planning a gift for you, a Readers Corner gift for you. Thank you so much for always encouraging us. Now, how to beat overwhelm and start finishing your books. One of the biggest challenges I've noticed among readers is unfinished books. Many people are on this table. I was like that many years ago. I started one book and then I leave it. I start another one and then I leave it. It was almost like, who is chasing me? Like, I'm not settled. Okay, let me start this one. They say it's this one, Abby. I'll carry this one. Oh, no, no, they say it's this one now. I was like that. So I am the best person to teach you how to overcome that, right? The first thing I have on my list is proper planning. Planning for reality, not for perfection. What is planning? One of my best definitions of planning is bringing tomorrow into today so that you can do something about it. So when you're planning, you're bringing tomorrow closer. You bring it to your today, and then you do something about that tomorrow, so that by the time you're stepping into tomorrow, it's already established and it becomes better. That is one of the most profound definitions of planning I've read in this my research and reading journey. Now, how do you beat overwhelm with planning? Start every day with a plan. And no, scratch that. Plan your day the day before. Stay ahead of the curve. Planning your day on that day, you're already late to the party. Let me tell you why. When you plan your day the day before you sleep, your neural pathways, your brain cells begin to work on the plan. That's the part that you're missing all this while. Your brain cells begin to deliberate on. Let me tell you, when you're sleeping, you're not actually, your brain is not sleeping. Your brain is building mansions on your head that we cannot even see. So why is it important to have a plan before you go to bed? Plan for the next day. Of course, I don't want to start talking about have a year plan, monthly plan, weekly plan. If you have been following this YouTube channel, we've already done all of that. Now let's talk about planning the day, gong gong gong, because this overwhelm, sometimes we don't even envisage it. It just comes like, how did I get here? Plan your day the night before, so that when you have written it down, you have it all planned out. I'm not saying it has to be an excellent or perfect plan, but have a draft of what your Monday will look like, and then go to bed. When you go to bed, a part of you is busy working on those plans, thinking of a way to make it better. By the time you wake up on Monday morning, trust me, that plan is already 90% executed in your brain. All you need to do is plug and play. Do this, do that, do that, do this. Now, it's very easy to say this thing. Let me tell you the part that we then all fail at it is allowing distractions. I read one book many years ago and it says, live your life from your book. You see that book where you've planned it? It's almost like when they ask you your name, I don't even know my name. Just go and look for the book. Where is it? That is how it is. Anything that is not in that plan, you don't have any business with it. As much as possible. I know in life there may be ups and downs, there might be you falling off the wayside sometimes, but as much as possible, scratch it. Put it in the plan for the next time. This is where the graceful no comes in. I know book lovers members will be smiling now because we have a repertoire of how to say no without saying no. I'm actually enjoying what goes on in Book Lovers Club. And if you're not there, I don't know what you're waiting to be outside, because what we're sharing here are just tips, scratches. Book Lovers Club is where we pass through the process of transformation itself. Okay, plan. So also, as you're planning your day, what are we saying? We're trying to remove overwhelm so that we can create some mental space to read, right? Second, no. So part of what you're planning your day is also plan your reading time, right? Some people don't even have a plan. They're like, oh, I'll read when I'm done. When I'm done, like reading does not even have a home in your 24 hours. It's hanging pending, like we used to say when we were younger, or it's floating in the air. That is totally wrong. Okay. For example, you can plan shorter reading sessions. Tell yourself that, okay, every day, guess what? 5 minutes is enough. That's shocking, right? 5 minutes is enough to deliver this result, I'm telling you. But what matters is that you do it repeatedly and consistently, right? Then when you're planning, you also add some extra, like a buffer time, like in case things don't go as planned. Generally, what we're saying is decide when reading happens before the day starts. And this one, it is tied to creating a reading system. Those in Book Lovers Club last month, we had our knowledge feast, and what we talked about was creating reading systems that work. The 7S reading framework, where we talked about one of them, we talked about scheduling. Reading has to have a surname. Oh. Many of us reading does not have, it does not carry our name. It's not anywhere in our calendar. A reading plan that fits real life is better than a perfect plan that never happens. So I see one of my friends, she said, that she told herself this 2026, she's going to read 40 minutes every day. Me that I'm a reading coach, I don't even read 40 minutes gone safe. I smiled at her. And then after some time, I called her and I said, how far with your 40 minutes? She said, Vera, the last time I read is the day I said that thing to you. And I laughed. Why did I laugh? Because I'm not surprised. You set a plan that is dead on arrival. And that's one of the tools that, one of the hows that we'll talk about is to start small. Small is better than starting bigger and never doing. I saw something recently that blew my mind. Many of us, they taught us to aim for the stars, right? And then if you land on in the moon or something like that. I read a book and it says, how did he say it again? He says, it is better to start small than to aim for the stars and then you find it hard to lift a foot. Many of us are in that table. We want to start big, launch it big, bigger and better. It's a lie. Bigger is not better. Small is better. Because small makes it easier for your brain to start. In Book Lovers Club, again, one of the things we talked about when we were talking about the 4 laws of habit formation, we talked about making it easy. The brain thrives on ease. Anything that you bring that is hard for your body and your brain, you're going to struggle to do it. The easier, the better. So how do I mean easy? I don't mean start running away from hard things. I mean, in the hard things, break them down into easier steps. Example, you have this book that you have to finish. Why can't you say, okay, I'm going to read just 1 page every day? My dear, it is easier to read 1 page every day than to read 10 pages once a week. Read 1 page every day, but don't finish the book. But trust me, the change you're looking for is happening in you without knowing it. Okay, now I have to speed up. The second one is proper prioritization. Decide what truly matters. Overwhelm happens when everything feels urgent. We talked about that already. Reading must move from optional to intentional. Now, let me tell you something. Not everything deserves equal attention in your life. Not everything. Because if everything is important, then reading will be the last thing that you would think about. That's a scripture that I love so much. It's in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 16. I'm going to read it for you. So that many of us who say we're busy, too busy to open a book. Let me tell you what your creator said to you. He says, Proverbs 16, 16. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold? The gold that the Bible wrote, he put an exclamation mark on it. And to get understanding, rather to be chosen than silver. Again, another exclamation mark. I wish I can show you my Bible. I wish I can show you. Oh, cannot see. My Bible is very tiny. See, exclamation mark. Look at it there. Open your own and check. You see it. So how can you be busy? Too busy to get wisdom. Too busy to get understanding. What are you chasing again? When the Bible already says it is better to get this thing than gold. So it's saying it is better to read every day than to go to work. Yes, that's what the scripture says. It is better to study your Bible every day than to go and do your business. Why? When the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and every other thing will be added, that's another example. Because seeking wisdom is the foundation for every other thing to follow. I need to run fast. Let's tie it back to reading now. Let us prioritization. Look at your season of life, look at your goals, look at the challenges you're going through at the moment. What do you want to improve? Then you choose one main book that can achieve that goal for you. And then you choose one reading goal per time. The third how to overcome overwhelm, to beat overwhelm, is to create reading systems, not reading goals. We talked about this already, I think in the in January live stream also. Because goals inspire, but systems are what sustain. Systems make it very hard to fail. And what is a system? System is the how that you are going to achieve the what that you set to achieve. Your goal is the what. This is what I want to do. Back, 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 back. Your system is the how that will keep you accountable, help you ensure that you do what you say you will do. Readers who finish books don't rely on motivation, they rely on effective systems. They rely on effective systems. I can't wait. I can't wait. I keep saying I'm working on books. Like I have a lot of books I'm working on, but one of the interesting ones that I can't wait to have out is the reading systems blueprint. Like I talked a lot about it. We already shared some of them in Book Lovers Club, right? How systems can transform, literally transform your life in every area. I'm not talking about reading alone. Another I'm going to run through. I have limited time now. We talked about multitasking. Now, and another how to beat overwhelm is to remove the slowest hiker. Yes. Now, what do I mean? In every process, in every system, everything you're trying to achieve, there's always the thing that sets you back the most. For example, you struggle with reading, you just do it occasionally when you're able to. There is one main thing that is stopping you from reading consistently. Your job is to identify that one thing and take it out, eliminate it, technically subtract it from your life, right? That is how to beat overwhelm. Example, I was in a conversation with a friend and she said she really like she loves what I'm doing and she like tries to follow my stuff, my conversations and all of that. But her biggest challenge is that every time she picks up a book to read, then she begins to sleep. She sleeps off. It's more like the book sings lullaby songs for her to sleep. And then I told her that it's not her fault. Many people go through that challenge. The reason why that is happening is mental fatigue. Mental fatigue from busyness during the day. Mental fatigue from multitasking. I talked about this thing a lot. Doing many, many, many things, it just stresses the brain. Before noon, your brain is already like, please have mercy on me now. I still have many more hours in the day to go by. But when we choose one thing at a time, even in our thoughts, some people are they'll be in a session like this, but they're in their mind, they're cooking jollof, they are already in the market, they're already attending another seminar. Those things are possible. They are nice, so but they are draining the brain. So that is why when you now is now the little time you manage to create for reading books, or you go off. Another slowest hiker can be late night exhaustion, phone scrolling, too many books, unclear goals. Identify your own slowest hiker and take it off the equation. When you solve the main friction points, and then progress begins to accelerate naturally. The next how I would like to talk about, I have many of them in my notes, but I'm just going to talk about one more and we will call it an evening till we meet again next month. But besides that, we have lots of short YouTube videos and conversations going on the YouTube channel, on Instagram, and on our WhatsApp, if you're following us on those channels as well. The last one I'd like to talk about today is reduce decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a thing. So I realize that many of us actually are energetic, like we'll have energy, we're energized to read, but many times the brain is already fast spent, is already exhausted. One of the things that also drain the brain is decision fatigue. What is decision fatigue? Putting yourself in a position where you need to think, decide too many, many, many things. You decide you decide what to eat, decide what the children will eat, decide where they will go, decide when they will stop, decide when they start their homework, decide when they will stop, decide when you will get in the car. Reduce decision fatigue for yourself. How do you reduce decision fatigue? Again, creating systems and structures. If you're a parent with children, write down their schedule already. Let everybody knows what follows next. After this is this. After this is this. Let it be visible where they will see it. Make your life easier. My parenting coach Wendy, she will say, the structure is the instruction that you don't need to say every time. So it means that you have written it down, educated them, have a conversation around it, and then keep it where they can see it. Then your work is just to be pointing them, what are you supposed to be doing now? Not, hey, come and wash plate, hey, come and eat food. Hey, that's decision fatigue. I tell you a story. When last time when we read the Making It Big book, I picked something very profound from that book. There's something Mr. Femi said he began to do as he got deeper in his career. He changed his wardrobe. He changed his wardrobe and began wearing just one cloth, one type of cloth for years. I think it's like 5 years or 10 years, only white kaftan. This is where smart people are better than others. Many people would think, oh, he doesn't want to spend money, or that is him removing decision fatigue. Every time you need to decide on what to do, is a depletion in the brain, is a loss to the brain. So as many decisions as can be automated, better for you, right? He just said to himself, look, I can't deal with this every day. I'm looking for what to wear. Then I wear green belt and then I have to wear brown shoe. I just stick to white. And he got his tailor. They sold all white for him. That way, the thinking of what to wear is out of the way. That there is wisdom in that simple adjustment in life. There is a lot of wisdom. Reduce decision fatigue. Let's tie it now back to reading. So what I'm doing here is telling you how to even eliminate it generally in life, and also how to improve your reading life. Now, generally in life, decision fatigue, automate as many decisions as possible. Let everybody know what they need to do. Back, 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 back. Not everything should not come back to your desk every time. Even if it's happening for now, have a process, have a plan in the future to automate many things. Okay? Now let's tie it back to reading. Some people fail to read every day because it is that moment they want to read. And that's which one? What should I read? Is it this book or this one? Or how long should I read? Or when should I read? No, that is a failed system already. Is a failed system already. Decision fatigue in reading can be cured by creating reading systems. In Book Lovers Club, we already know when we read. Many of us in that club, we read at a particular time of the day. There's a lady in the Book Lovers Club. One of the times we were sharing, because every Wednesday we have show and tell, people share, the experience. And she said, this is her reading time. I think she said 5:20 to 5:40. Guess what? And so what we did in the Book Lovers Club, when you read every day, you drop your reading emoji. We have some sacred emojis that we use to put in our reading. So when you meet your reading streak, you go and put it there. Everybody sees that, okay, you've done your reading streak for today, and the admin is taking notes. If you've not read it, they will send you email and ask you what's up. You've not sent a reading streak for so many days. And I noticed one thing about this lady, that every time, or many of the times, at that same time, that's when her reading emoji drops. That is what a system can do for you. So there's no more decision like, what will I read today? Okay, let me go to Amaka's house. When I come back, I'll cook okra soup. After that okra soup, we'll have family devotion, then I will read. Then on Tuesday, I'll now do lesson first, then I'll go to market. Then after market, then I will do night video, then I will read. It doesn't need to be like that. Let it be structured. Everything. Like I'm not saying there's a perfect system anywhere, but at least work towards it. Because many of the things, it's easy to say them, but when it comes to doing them in real life, it's actually harder. But like, as much as possible, have a system. This is when I read. This is what I will read for this one. This is how many pages I will read. Now I will talk about the last part of this conversation, because I have just 4 minutes to go. The last part of how to beat overwhelm and finish your books is, I'm taking it back to the proper planning. The first thing to do when you pick up a book is not to read the book, especially when you're starting the book for the first time. The first thing to do is to plan how to finish that book. If you don't plan, if you fail to plan, then you've planned to fail. It happens in reading. So you pick up this book. For me, this is what I do. Any book I'm starting, I just look at it. Okay. I first go to the table of content. I interact with it. Okay, this is what it's talking about. I envisage what the book will be, what to expect. That way, my brain is already activated. Okay, what do we find in this book? Instead of just picking it and then you just start reading like a story. Another thing I do is I count the number of pages of that book, and then I count the number of days I want to finish that book. How does that help me? It keeps me in check. So if this book is 200 pages and I have 20 days to read it, it means I have to do 10 pages every day. So am I going to be doing 7.5 one day and then I will expect that I will finish the book? The answer is no. As long as I don't do 10 pages every day, I'm not going to finish the book. And any day I do less than 10 pages, it means I owe myself, I need to do 13 the next day. And I don't want to have too many pages. So I have to give myself the discipline of sticking to the plan. That is part of the planning. Remember, we said planning, bring the future into today so that you can do something about it. So the future, when it comes to reading and finishing books, the future is for you to finish that book. What do? You bring finishing the book to today. That is you looking at the number of pages it has, and then you break it down based on your schedule, something that is doable. Sometimes I pick up a book and I say, Vera, in 4 days you are done with this book, and that's fine now. I don't care what else comes up. As long as it does not align to helping me finish that book, I will say no to it. That's why some my friend, people that are close to me, they know that my no is more than my yes. The no that I will tell you is more than my yes, and it's okay like that. That's the way my season of life, right? So the first thing to do when you pick up a book is not to read the book, it is to plan how to finish the book. How do you plan? Check the preview, check the table of content, check the number of pages it has, count the number of days you have to finish the book. Don't leave it to chance. Say, there are 31 days. Okay, let's start now. Let's be going. We see how it looks. That's a failed plan. Give yourself a realistic plan, not a perfect one, right? Even if you want to finish the book in 2 months, it's okay. If it's 5 pages every day, you are better than the person who started and never finished. Now, it is almost top of the hour, and I've spoken for 1 hour. Sometimes I start to lose my breath when I talk for too long, but not when I'm talking about reading. I absolutely love what I do. And I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. If you have any question, you have anything you want to say, please drop it in the chat and we can all I can see it and respond to it. But it's been an absolute honor talking about reading consistency, reading tips, reading habits, right? Remember, the end goal is to make reading a lifestyle. Many of us in Book Lovers Club are already living this lifestyle. People just show up every single day with their reading streaks. And I'm like, God, only you can do this, right? Because I am the founder of Book Lovers Club. I am not a perfect reader. I'm also growing, right? But I see that we're all growing together in that community. And so I encourage you, find your way into Book Lovers Club. Keep your ears open for the next registration, because we close registration for this period until the next registration open like next month for June cohort. And it's going to be absolutely interesting to have you here. Thank you. I see Sister Olivia. I see Smart Mom Living. Thank you so much for joining me. And this is where we'll call it a day for today. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that immediately, right? Remember, the end goal is to make reading a lifestyle for so many reasons. One of them is that you want to live your life in accordance to your Creator's command. It says it is better to seek wisdom than gold, and to get understanding than silver. I hope that this means something to you. Okay? Make a decision once and do it repeatedly. Plan your reading time. Plan your life generally. Say no more than you say yes. Say no to non-essentials. And trust me, you will beat overwhelm, and you will definitely create more time to read consistently. There's something I said to the Book Lovers Club members. I said, you owe it to your children to leave a legacy of a consistent reading life to them. How can you leave a legacy when you've not even treated yourself? So, if not for any other thing, read consistently every day of your life for the sake of your children. You owe it to them. Right. Thank you so much for joining me. I remain Coach Vera Patrick Azodo. This is what I love to do. And I love it when I see people listening to me, watching me every Sunday, last Sunday of the month. So thank you for being here. Till we meet again in March, we'll have more topics lined up for the year, more interesting topics and webinars coming up. Till then, see you. See you soon. Thank you.